Yeah, it's so funny. Oh, what's up? Welcome back. It's so funny how these videos, I just deleted one 2 seconds ago. I shot a bunch of videos and I've deleted them all because they just come out crappy and they piss me off when I watch them. But they get too long, they get fragmented, and I just started one and it just got fragmented because I lost what I was trying to do here. So, I'm milling trailer decking for a customer, big construction equipment trailer. And I got kind of a, he gave me a cut list, but I didn't know that I believed him, so I went down and I measured out his trailer myself. And I've already cut all his 16 footers, true 2x16 footers, all oak. Don't mind what's underneath it, these were for another project. But I've got all his 16 footers done, and now I got to cut the pieces. So I've got it all kind of segmented out here, and I've got a bunch of 4 footers in the front of this trailer, and I need 7 1/4 wide to fill this, 7 1/4 and 7s to fill that. So what I did was I threw a 12-foot, I went through all my logs and I threw a 12, it's actually almost pretty close to 13 minus where they did their face notch there. It's 13 foot to the end of the log on the bottom, but the face notch cuts into the 13. So I figure I can get 12 footers out of this, and the 12 footers I can break into the 4. So with one 12-foot log, I need 6 at 7 1/4, and I need 6 full length at 7 1/4. Okay, yep, I'm getting lost again, but now I see why. So I've got 5 footers down here. Got 5 footers down here, so I think I added on, I can cut all these 7 1/4 out of the same piece, and I need some 7-inch wide. Now I could cut them all at 7 1/4, and then you could rip them down. But what I'm going to try and do right now is get a max cant out of this and see how big it is, and hopefully I get something out around 14-ish, so I can cut the cant in half. Let's see what we got here. You can see there's a little bit of a rot spot right there. I'm not sure where that goes, so we'll have to see. But so 14 would be, this is like almost 18 to the outside of the bark this way. Wow, it looks wider this way, but it's just about, with this little flare down, it's pretty much 18 here. So 18 times 7 is 70, and 56 is 126. So you only get almost a 13-inch can out of this. So I'm not going to get 14. It's possible with the little flare down here on my 12 feet, I could get 13 up in there and cut this end off, or 14 down there and cut this end off, to be able to split it in half and get pretty much all my boards out of 2 cants. So really what I need is I need 14 1/4 plus an 1/8 to cut it to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I wanted to show some of this. I'm going to go to lunch in a little while, and I wanted to blast this into a cant, see what I can get. So I'm going to try to max it out. I did shim this end up to get to center the pith, because it's got a pretty good flare on the other end, and the logs bowed like this. One thing I want to show on the Norwood that doesn't get shown often, I think is kind of important, and really screwed me a couple of videos ago, where I was trying really hard with the PV to scoot the log over to the log stops. And one thing that you don't see Norwood talking about is these adjustable log stops. This is kind of a game changer, where I get this log, on here right now loose, and it's kind of where I want it. And it would be, to shove it over, you're gonna, I could use the machine, but you move the mill, or you break your ass trying to do it with a PV. Well, these log stops, I can just move them over to the log. And that makes a big difference in being able to do that. In most mills, they're fixed on this side. Also, because this log sweeps like this, that corner was going to stick into where my carriage would go by, and was going to cut down on my clearance there. I can scoot it over, and this makes a big difference on big logs, and then move these over to the log, and I'm going. For this top cut, I really only need 2 of them. Matter of fact, I think, yeah, I don't want it to tilt, so I can just shove this over. And where that makes a big difference, I'll tell you where it makes a big difference. When you get this in cant form, you're trying to square up your cant. You cut your top, you cut your bottom, and then you're trying to roll that up on its side and get it 90 degrees to these. If you over rotate that cant, especially on a bigger log, it kind of sucks because you got to scoot the bottom over, and if it's a big log like this, that's hard to do. Well, you could come on this side. If you're over rotated, you could come on this side, rotate it back a little bit so you're not over rotated, move this log stop over to the log, and then let it go, and now you're under rotated here and you can tweak it a little bit versus having to try to scoot the bottom over and get that. So if you over rotate, on your side of your cants like this, you have to scoot the bottom over to get it back upright. Well, that's easy on a small log, but it's not easy on a big log. So that makes a big difference being able to do that. If you do over rotate, now, some people say, oh, I've had to take the log and roll it, 270 degrees to be able to try to fix it again. I've seen some people say that they've had to take the log off the mill, which I don't understand that, but maybe if it was a $high log and you didn't want to scar it up or something, with a log turner on a wood miser, maybe that's why they did that. But this makes a big difference being able to fix that. So what I'm going to do with this, it doesn't look filthy. I'm going to sweep it really quick for metal. I hit a ton of metal the last couple of days. There's no marks on either end, so I think this one's okay. I swept it on the ground a little bit. Move you guys back. I'm going to sweep it with 2 things. I got my lumber wand, and I also have one of those new Harbor Freight metal detectors, which seems to work great. Matter of fact, I'll show you on, I don't know if there's any metal. Oh, I know where there's metal. Yep, I'll show you on over there. There's metal in the top of that 6-inch one right over there still. But let me yank these out here, show you how they work, and you see the difference between the 2. Not going to be a ton of cutting on this, but hopefully there will be. Depends on how bored I get. Hopefully this one. Okay, good. One thing about these lumber wizards, they constantly need to be adjusted on the fine tuning thing here. So sometimes you'll turn it on and it'll be like, and you got to adjust it till it stops. But I'm going to turn this on. Let's scan this right here. Okay, looks like I got all the metal out of it. Let's see if it picks up the metal on this one over here. I thought there was metal right there. See on the side where that metal is. Huh. Sounds on. Yeah, so this is this thing with this thing having to be adjusted because right now it's not picking anything up. This Harbor Freight one. Let's turn this off. Let me see if I can pull my knife out and adjust this lumber wizard to where it will pick. I can see the metal in the side where I cut through the nails. So what you do with this one is you turn it on. You turn the fine tuning down till it beeps, or up till it beeps. you turn it so it just stops, and that's its max. It's not picking up either of those nails. It's picking up my knife. It's not picking these up because they're down a little bit to where the pickup is. The pickup's like right here. So I think I like the Harbor Freight one better because you got to be really pretty close with this thing. You got to be pretty close with this thing. You don't. I'm gonna go ahead and just flip you around and scan this log really quick with both of them and see if we can find anything. Hopefully not. It looks like a butt cut on the end, so that, you know, everything's going to be somewhere about 4 feet up if there is anything. So you can see it'll pick up the mill. It's picking up the log stop. If I turn the sensitivity down on it, maybe it won't pick it up with the back. Picking up the log stop. See if it doesn't on this one. Yep. Picking up the log stops. I should have swept it before I put it up here. I swept most of it on the ground the other day. Wow, that picks that up from a long way away. Yep, that's picking up the mill. That's picking up the mill too. So it doesn't look like there's anything in this top cut. There's no staining in the bottom of the log. So there's a little lesson for you. Don't if you go with these things, don't check them on the mill because they'll pick up the mill. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to dog this thing down. We'll get the mill fired up. Take the top slab off it. Got to get, I figure my top cut's going to be about, I'll blast one through at 18 inches off the deck. That's going to come through pretty much right here. And we'll start from there. Hopefully we get this thing into a square before I want to eat. And then later, after I get back from lunch, and when I get back from lunch and I want to mill this thing out, I'll video that. But let's put you over here so you can see speed of cut. I think most people want to see speed of cut. So red oak, 18 horsepower Vanguard. I'm running 7-degree Norwood Sabertooth. This one is a new band. It hasn't been sharpened yet. It has got a little bit of time on it, but not enough to make a difference. Running water pine saw, which on this log doesn't make a difference. Water pine saw and Dawn. Yeah, so let's tear the top off at 18 inches down from the top. One thing I want to know from you guys, if anybody would like to comment, is I would like to know if you like my long videos or not, because I'm trying not to shoot long videos. So if you like my long videos, let me know. If you don't, let me know that too. I like to show everything. The last couple of days the videos just ran long and I'm milling logs, and I thought everything was important. I hit a ton of metal and had to dig metal out, and I thought everything was important, but they just get too long, and then I deleted them. So if you like long videos, let me know that, and I will shoot more. There's not much dirt on this log. Sure, there's a ton in the bark, but as far as dust in the bark. These things are piss me off now. Sure, there's a ton of dust in the bark, but it's not a lot of hot. There's a lot of open dirt on the log itself. This thing. My wife got me this for my birthday, and it's gonna have to be used by hand. Won't load good enough on this. Unless you go dead straight like this. Well, let's fire it up and see what happens. But what I can do right now is if I mill off a 2-inch slab off this right now, I can get a bunch of my 5s out of it, or a couple of my 5s out of it. So I'm gonna take a 2-inch piece out of here and throw it down here, and I can edge it later and get some 5s. I was gonna take an inch cut off the top. That doesn't do me any good for this order, and I can get at least 2 5-inch wide pieces for the bottom of the trailer, sure, for the ramps. I need 3 times 5 on both sides for the ramps. So I'd get 2 of them out of this right now if I cut a 2-inch slab off. So I'm going to do that, then I'll flip it. And that means that this rain right here doesn't affect anything. Any of you watch what I did on that cut is I'm managing my speed on that cut. I'm watching my outflow, so if I start to lose that constant outflow of the rooster tails kicking out the side, I'm slowing down. It's one thing about evenly loading the band so you don't get wavy cuts. You want to evenly load the band, so you want to make sure that your rooster tail that's kicking out is consistent. If it's drooping off and then kicking up and drooping off and kicking up, you're going too fast or too slow. You want to keep your cutting speed up so that it's kicking out constantly. That means that your band's nice and evenly loaded. So we're going to get this flipped over. Hopefully I'm up to the task today. And we'll fix them off the other side and take it one step at a time here. Right now I'm at I was at 15 7/8 on that cut. So I don't hold high hopes that I'm going to get to 14-inch cant, especially with as crooked as this log is. We're going to see though. Hopefully this thing will roll for me. Try to use the log dog assist on this part. Hopefully it works. It never works. I'm not really the best at this log dog assist thing. I could roll it with the machine. Hopefully I don't need to. We're going to find out quick though. And when I roll it, that block's going to slide out. Fell right down. Let's see, because it's hitting on the mill. will say this, with a log this big, if I could get this thing square over there, I would cut it just like that, just to get some weight off it. One of the problems with that's going to be that I have to check the pith to make sure that doing that, my pith wasn't high down there because of having the block in. But the block in, because it's staying there right now, should help, because when you jack up the end, the one thing I see people do wrong a lot is they jack up the end for the first cut, flip it 180, put it down on the bunks. They never jack it up when they turn it on its side. You still need to get rid of the taper if you want to get a max cant. So this wouldn't be a bad idea just to get this thing square right now and leave it up on that and see how that affects the height. There's a wicked taper off down there. This is really going to get carved down when I go, because this log goes, I didn't see it before, but it just tapers right off down there. How much more do I gotta go? A little bit. See what we're working with really quick. Because that block that's under this log right now is going to help get that end up. Now see, now I'm over rotated. This is what I was talking about. This would be a problem with this log if you couldn't adjust these. Because what I can do right now, I can get my log unsprung here and then my thing unsprung. So I can rotate it back a little bit and move the log side over. Actually, I can use this one. I'm pretty close to square. So I'm going to take the top off this one right now. I'm going to dog it in the middle here and then take the top off it. Get a little bit of weight off it. Don't even with this log dog assist, I don't even really need the dog right now. So let's see where we are down here. I know I'm going to have to get down to that. So that's 18 inches too. So I want to make my first cut at 18 inches. Same as the last way. Let's see where we are pith wise. You guys can see me over here. I'm going to see where we are pith wise. Now, this is another thing that might help some of you. When you're checking pith, sometimes you're not close enough to one of these to be able to check it off of here. You don't need to if you have a 4-foot level. Just lay your 4-foot level across the log bunks. And just about 9 inches, which is where the center was before. I'll go check the other end. The other end's a perfect example. There's no log bunk where the pith is. So if you lay this across, and the 9 inches obviously isn't the real height, it's just the height from the level. I'm about 10 here. You know, this log is so big, I'm just going to cut it the way it is. be perfect, this needs to come up about a ½ inch, because what's going to end up happening is when you pick this up, because that end's not on the bunk, it's going to go down. So this only needs to come up about a ½ inch to be right. Doing that with the machine by myself, having to stuff another block in here, would be kind of problematic. So, and with the fact that I'm square right now and not wanting to mess with it, I'm just going to cut it right where it is. So we'll get you on the side view. Let's let you watch from over here for once. You can see the problem with over here is that you're not going to get to see the rooster tail, but I'll move you back over there in a minute. The problem with over here is when I get the mill down here. Watch. So 18 inches off the deck again. Because we're playing here, I'm going to take another 2-inch one off, and I'll get another 2 of those lamps out of that. Maybe 4, maybe all of them, because I might get the quad. more. Hopefully it'll fall out when I'm rolling. Now I have it shimmed on 2 axes, perpendicular to each other. So we'll try to roll this one over. We can just go 90 now, it doesn't matter. It's kind of good. I guess that's the argument for doing it like that. I don't like that, but it's the argument for it. The problem is that I think the problem side's going to be the bottom, and I won't be able to set my width before I get there with this next cut, really. Thing out, and then I don't think I'm going to be able to lift this. I might have to come over, take that out with the machine. Maybe I can do it from there. I had another body here. Oh yeah, I can. Something to hit that block. Wait. Now let's make sure that my log stops are still where they need to be. I don't want to back this one back up to even with the other ones. I keep them like 4 inches off. That centers big logs. That one off. Now here's another example. If you couldn't slide this end over, I can just throw this log stop over to it, tighten it down. Bob's your uncle. Now I'm up. So right now I can't go below. Can't technically go below 10. I'm gonna get this down just a little bit. I think 10 would be okay for this one. Let's just make sure. Okay, that's like at 5. This one's at 9. Wish I hadn't done that now. This one down to 5. This one out of the way. And then now we cut that part of the top off it. There's a pretty good dip in this log, so I think, based on what I'm seeing, I'm going to come right to that 14. Might come right to 14 here. Look at my notes. Seven and a quarter. So I'm going to come down to 14 and a quarter and make a cut, and we're going to leave it there. and 3/8. Wouldn't be bad. I'll come to closer to 4. Good workout. So if I take 2 inches out of it right now, I can get probably 2 more of the finish up the ramps out of this. That's going to cost me, so 2 inches, it's going to cost me 1 cut sideways, and then maybe I can get 14¼ out the other way to do two cants, and it's going to cost me a board. If I leave it like this, which is got to get cut more. No matter what I do, I'm encroaching on my 2 or my 7. I'm just taking another 2 out of it. That's it to be done with my ramps. I can get rid of all the grain. Get it square. And then I'll try to do this side at the max that I can. So this is not going to make 14 either. Alright, we're going to take 2 more out, and the ramps are done, and then we'll see what's left over. that's all my ramp pieces, I believe. Get this into a max cant this way. See, we have left over, so it's going to be about my 7s here. There's a chance I can take one off the side. We'll see. There's nothing else I can do. Got a little bit of wind shaking it too. Whoa. Stop, slow down. Launch stops can stay at their bottom now. You can see how these videos can get long in a hurry. So I want to just put them up. So let's get this thing cleaned up. We'll do some measurements and figure out where we need to go from there. Or I'm going to take lunch. 12, a little lower on the other side. I'm going to cut through it at 12 and see what happens. Doesn't do me any good, but 12, and then these are 12. Like 12 by 12. It's not good. It's just bad dimensions either way. This looks like white oak log. Weird. I know it's a red, but man, it's got some white oak color to it. Huh. Definitely red. I do have, in that one I just cut off, if I am short on those, the one I just cut off down there, if I'm short on those ramp pieces, there's at least 2 right there in that end, 5 feet long, 2 inches thick. Cut it side by side because it's 12 inches wide. So what I'm gonna do now is, like I said, I'm gonna go to lunch. I'm gonna kill this video, shoot part 2 later. This is an hour long at this point. When I come back, we'll do some measurements, trace some of it out of how we're going to cut this cant to get most of what's done, most of what we got left, because what we need is, what we want to do is we want to blast it into a 7-inch cant, probably down from the top to get rid of that wane, get that top cant off, blast out 2-bys till the bottom. We'll have to measure how many we're going to get there, and then cut the cant down and see. So that's going to give us 5, so we'll get 2. Take like 7 1/4. We're going to get 9 1/4, 11 1/4. We get 2 out of it that way. Be a lot of waste on the sides, like 5 inches. So we end up with a 2x5. So I could cut some 2x4s out of it, oak. And 7-inch cant, we're going to get, this way, oh, that's too bad. 12 3/8. That sucks because it's not quite enough. 2 1/8, 3 1/4, 4 1/4, 6 3/8. 8 1/2. 10 5/8 leaves us just too thin on that last one. That sucks. We're still going to get a nice board out of it, but it's going to be, kills 2 boards of this project. Unless I go just thin. 6/16 is just less than a 1/2 inch. That works. So instead of doing 2 1/8, if I do 16ths, I do 2 1/16 and leave myself a shave under 2 inches for his deck, I think I can get them all. These, I think I measured them and they came out 2 inches perfect. With the kerf, figured at 1/8. So these came out 2 inches perfect. They all the same. This one's 2, this one's almost 2 1/8. This one's 2 1/16. This one's 2. So that little bit of variance, if I cut them just shy of 2 inches, just shy, 16th, I can get them all out of that cant. So that's probably what I'm going to do, and end up with being able to cut 6 of them out of that side right there, because I think, let's look at my paperwork, I need 6 at 7 1/4. 6 gets me these three, these three, these three, and these three. There's nothing in this spot. And then I'd need an 8-foot log, but I'm going to get a whole bunch of 7s. Three 8-footers. So these are all 4s. I can get 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I can get at least 4 out of that other way. Out of that, that's going to leave me just short. These are done. That cant, if I cut it just under, will do all these. These, and these. Now this is a dovetail, so it's not going to matter there if it's leaned down. So you won't notice the 16th there. These ones you'll notice the 16th, but these aren't a perfect, I mean, these are all not within a 16th anyway, so I mean they're close, but they're, so you won't really notice it up here. Plus they're going to dry and shrink. So I think that's the way to go. That'll get me all 6 of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 7 1/4. That does this whole section, and then all I have left to cut is whatever I don't get here, and I'm going to get at least 4 of the 6 that I need there. It's 42 inches. You know, if I cut these full width, I might be okay. So you got 12 and 12 is 24, and I'll get 2 of them. Yeah, I will be okay. If I cut them full width, I'm done on this log, because this is 42 inches wide. They're 12 inches wide. So if I cut 2 12s at 2 inches thick at 13 long, I can get all of them out of this. Yeah, I'm done. This log will cut it out. All right. So, the eyes of a contractor. Yeah. So I need 4-footers and 4-footers and 5-footers. So 9 of it is going to end, 9 of this, let's just say 13 feet. And that leaves me a 4-footer too. I'm going to measure this when we come back, because I didn't even think of that. This gets me 4, 5, and 4. 4s, 5s is 9, and 4s is 13. Hold up. This is a double wing. I get 3 out of each. I definitely can cut it out on this log if I pay attention. You just measure the length overall here. This is 13 feet. I'm gold. Yeah, it's 13.4. I'm good. So I get a 4, a 5, and a 4 out of it each piece. I got to pay attention to how I cut this. I got to pay attention to how I cut this. I think I'm gold. So I want to cut a 7 1/4 cant. And I don't need to undercut it, because I get 3 pieces per. I don't need to cut it under. I can cut it at 2 inches, because I don't need 6 of them. But if I do cut it under, I guarantee that I'm okay on the middle too. No, because I'm ended up with more. I'm ended up with 3 more pieces. And the pieces are 4s. I'm good. I'm good. I'm going to cut them at 2. There's plenty. Perfect. Hey, thanks for hanging out. I'll be back after lunch. This is North Massage Shop. Pirate Solutions Forestry out.